Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Monday night, it's time for the trucks to roar, here for race number 6 of the season. The ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Season 5 has had plenty of highs, plenty of lows, and we've had 5 different winners. But tonight, it's the start of another race. It's your Lariat Productions, the Darlington Throwback 170 here at Darlington. Drivers have been preparing for this race. It's Throwback night, meaning drivers are going to be showing off a couple of special schemes, some from their favorite drivers, some old schemes from past races. And tonight, it's on the egg-shaped Lady in Black, the track that's too tough to tame, Darlington Speedway. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is going to be Zach Hall and Zach Darlington. Third time that this series has been at this track, but I think for tonight, it's still an unknown.
It definitely is an unknown, especially heading off of last week at Dover, which was a wild one. Malik Kuntz getting the first time victory there, Sam, and that was huge news for him. But Darlington tonight, I'm excited for this. The lights are starting to dim. The sun's going down off there in the sunset of turn 3 and 4. We're getting ready for qualifying, where it's going to be super important to see how these guys start off tonight because of how we know how tough it is here to pass at Darlington. But I'm always excited for this race. We got amazing paint schemes to see. And I tell you what, this track can also put on some amazing racing. Even though it's tough to pass, when you do get a pass, it's amazing to watch.
And these drivers prepared, ready to go. Also, in other news, got a little bit of a smaller field than usual here at Darlington. Some drivers going off on vacation, others going off and just doing some other things away from racing. And that means we're missing out on 2 past winners of this season. Christopher Norris, our points leader, not going to be here tonight, nor is the Canadian Tire winner of Chase Schaefer. So it's a wide open door for some drivers on who can take the top of the board for points-wise. There's a few drivers to watch out for. It could be the teammate of the driver that's on screen. Could it be Trenton Jump taking the points lead after tonight? Could it be Mark Whitley or Joshua Kanata? Let's find out as drivers getting ready. Their first lap is being timed, and Zach already, drivers maxing out on that outside wall.
Getting very, very close, Sam, and that's what you got to do here at Darlington. This track is get as close to the wall as you possibly humanly can, and hope you don't get into it, as that wall's going to be covered up with scrape marks all throughout the night. When we get done with it, the paint's definitely going to be a little bit out of shape, as we're watching Logan Brakey here take time, and he's got a very cool looking scheme here tonight, man, with that Mike Skinner Toyota Flames scheme there. That's a very classic Toyota scheme, and cool to see it for the truck series.
It's cool to see it as the lights continue to dim. Logan Brakey, after his time is done, the 29 machine going to be third on the board. Still, though, about 3/4 of the field still needs to put down just 1 lap for themselves. A driver that knows how to get up front. Last season, Danny Cochran, the driver that got the pole. Can the two do it again here this evening? Didn't look the fastest during that practice, but first lap in, Danny Cochran's going to be the 5th fastest currently.
He's going to need something to help them there, because off of 2s, he got really, really close to that wall. I don't think he got into it, so no invalidating the lap. As here on iRacing, folks, if you touch the outside wall, you get what we call an incident point, and anytime you get that, it's going to invalidate your lap time here in qualifying. Hopefully, we'll see what Danny Cochran can put down here for this lap. It's going to be a 30.74, as he's going to be well off the pace here, Sam, and he's sitting in 7th, so couldn't make up time on that second lap.
Noah Steele going to be another driver out on track you see on screen, but topping the board after finishing their 2 laps, Malik Kuntz, the 98 machine, after last week's utter dominance at Dover. Zach, I think that curse could have been knocked off. This 98 is continuing with the momentum, but he's got to watch out for Mark Whitley, who moves up to 2nd, and Mason Cassidy, out of nowhere, the 17, takes the pole.
What a story this would be if he can hold on to us. This would be a huge sign for Mason Cassidy here. Is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit to put yourself at the top of the board. That must have been an amazing lap from him, as it's 8 thousandths of a second separating him and Malik Kuntz. As you know, Malik Kuntz is riding on cloud 9, Sam, here heading into tonight, and confidence is huge for a driver, but just sitting on pole for Mason Cassidy, that could be the same confidence building for him.
A track like Darlington, some drivers want to be as far up as you possibly can. Others, maybe it's a row that you want to be in, inside, outside, where you're going to feel the most comfortable. But it's Noah Steele first lap in 18th fastest. Final lap across the line. The 8's hoping for a massive bump up, and it could be a good one from 18th all the way up to 8th position for the 8 truck. Nice run from Noah Steele to rebound after that first lap.
Great job picking up on the second lap, and that's one thing I've seen that's different from a few is I've had a few drivers elect to run their fastest lap on their first lap, and then other drivers elect to do it on the second lap. That's what Noah Steele just elected to do, and same for Mason Cassidy. So cool to see the differences in the times. But right now, watching Matt Upbrook, first time on the board for him, a 29.71 as he goes through 1 and 2 here, a little bit loose, trying to get off the corner, and now head down the back straightaway, going to get into that wall, and it's going to validate that second lap, but it's going to hold on the 16th at the moment.
Matt Dyer in that 28 machine. Haven't seen him since the Canadian Tire a few weeks ago after coming off of major penalty losses at Auto Club. The 28's hoping for a rebound. Much faster time, though, for the 28 compared to his practice time. So you're seeing some rebounds of drivers maybe trying to play a little bit of a possum at times, but drivers look to be set and ready. Qualifying about to be done in just about 18 seconds, which gives us an opening to talk about the amazing sponsors here at the ISRC Truck Series. Start things off with the title sponsor of Larry Art Productions. Go over to Larry Art Productions today on YouTube to watch a variety of different style videos, from toy reviews to comedy skits and many more. Go to Larry Art Productions today, also on social media. And as well, qualifying is done. We're about to take a look at the qualifying results, and the results are sponsored by Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios. Go follow at Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios on Instagram for full colored custom tattoos, prints, paintings, and stickers and more. All can be found at Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios. Those are some amazing sponsors. We got more that we'll thank later on as we get ourselves prepared to look at our Orchid Moon qualifying results. Taking the pole award out of nowhere, the 17 Mason Cassidy taking the top of the board. To his outside gonna be last week's winner, Malik Kuntz. Mark Whitley in third. Trenton Jump, last time we were here, winner in the 46, going to start in fourth. Blake Hoppy going to be in fifth position. Nick Crawford in sixth. Seventh goes to Kyle Rochelle. Noah Steele up to eighth. Ninth, Ollie Fonseca. And Danny Cochran falls all the way down to 10th place.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the 25 truck of Cody Reed. Starting alongside him in 12th, it's going to be Joshua Kanata. 13th is going to be held by the 3 car of Anthony Gaudio, while 14th is going to be the 29 of Logan Brakey. 15th is going to go to the 34 truck of Ryan Ferraro, with 16th being the 28 of Matt Dyer. 17th is going to go to the 5 truck of Dakota Knees. 18th is going to be Eric Stamp, with 19th position being held by Justin Smith. And rounding out the top 20 is Tyler Dingler.
Last few drivers: in 21st position, Tyler Horn. 22nd position, find Austin Halsey in the 4 machine. 23rd, it's Cody Smith in the 7. 24th position is GT Irizarry in the 14. Joshua Freed back in 25th position. And Matt Upbrook finishing out the 26 drivers running here tonight. Last 3 drivers deciding not to put in a time, but they will be starting the back half of the field. Up front, Mason, Cassidy, Zach. I don't think anyone could have ever predicted that we were going to see the 17 get a pole this season, and especially on this track.
Not me, Sam. This kind of came out of nowhere. He's had some sneaky moments where he's had shown some speed throughout the season, had those kind of top 10 runs, but just did not have what we've seen here tonight with a pole position here at Darlington. Man, that's a very tough lap to put together, and for him to do that, that's a heck of a statement. And right here, starting in front of last week's winner on his outside, and Mark Whitley, who I think we were talking about a little bit before pre-race, may be the favorite heading here tonight. Was involved in an incident leading this race during season 4 last season, and it kind of ruined his race from there. He showed a ton of speed. I'm sure that 77 is going to be looking to rebound from that and get his season rolling too, because it's just been a tough up and down season where Mark has missed a few starts and really just been involved in a lot of incidents.
That he has, hoping for a good rebound. Seeing a couple of the throwback schemes in our first 2 rows. Seeing the 17 of Mason Cassidy going to start on the outside for himself, running the Mark Martin / Danica Patrick GoDaddy throwback scheme, as well as Malik Kuntz on the inside with the Ward Burton Cat machine. Where will these drivers land? the 77, as well as Mark Whitley running the Jeff Gordon throwback scheme with the 46. A Trenton jump, doing a throwback scheme to the white. Good wrench as well. We'll talk about more of the throwback schemes if we get a good long green flag run. But up front, the drivers are hoping for a great restart. Will chaos reign or can we stay stable? We got 50 laps to figure out the first stage as the green flag is out for the Lariat Productions 3 and the Darlington Throwback is underway.
Huge jump from the outside line with Cassidy leading the way, and it's going to be Trenton Jump, the leader. That second truck on the outer groove with the Dylan Hart scheme, as the 46 is going to make good pace through 1 and 2. He's going to be looking to set up in second from a 4-star position as they're loose off of 2 here, Sam.
Double drivers, big scares for themselves. Biggest one goes to Cody Reed deeper in the field, but up front, everyone sets up for the very tight corners of 3 and 4. Everyone trying to stay steady. Don't get your Darlington stripe just on the first lap. The exit of turn number 4, lap number 1, goes to Mason Cassidy getting the lap led, but Trenton Jump wanting the lead immediately. A huge dive bomb move by the 46.
Wasted no time. Last season's winner here at Darlington taking that lead with a commanding move in 1 and 2 as we got more drivers going down the backstretch. It looks like Blake Hoppy in the 31, a little bit loose off of 2. He had to have a basic maneuver and catch back into the field, but what a wild start here already to see this with the Jump jumping from 4th to the lead.
Not wasting any time. Other drivers have been making some big moves. Danny Cochran's up 3 positions, and as well Noah Steele up 2. The drivers up front, single filed out. This is exactly what the field needs. Get single filed out, get some good runs in, because we could see some massive carnage if these drivers don't take it easy. As the battle for 3rd place, our pole sitter, Mason Cassidy, he had one extremely quick lap, but now being swamped by some of the favorites in the ISRC Truck Series. Mark Whitley making the move for 3rd.
That experience of not being up front here in this series majority of the time here like Cassidy has is starting to show. He's starting to fall back into the clutches. He's just got to get, in the rhythm here. He's got to get back to what he was doing in qualifying and just feel comfortable here as he slots into that 4th position, but he was into the outside wall to start this race off. Luckily, he looked at the truck. No major damage there as Mark Whitley, like we've seen, moved into the 3rd spot.
And Mark Whitley moving forward behind Mason Cassidy. Starting to see the 74, Nick Crawford, and a little bit of contact even behind that. Danny Cochran, Kyle Rochelle, very close to the outside wall. I believe the 21 might have brushed the outside wall with how much momentum he lost off the exit of the corner. And Oli Fonseca will gladly take that position for himself.
They were definitely close to that wall, and that's one thing you do is if you get too close to that wall and you get into it, the momentum that is lost. That's one thing we'll talk a lot about tonight is momentum. And if you lose that momentum, you can quickly be overtaken by multiple trucks. As you see right now, it forms pretty much a line of trucks. I mean, everybody is a very one groove racetrack, and it makes it very, very tough to make passes happen. So a lot of drivers will wait for the right opportunity when that driver in front of them loses momentum to finally take, hold and make the pass.
Watching these drivers through the corners. So one of the more interesting tracks on how you have to enter both one side of the course and the other, because Darlington is an egg-shaped course. Turns 1 and 2, much longer, wider aspect of the course. The tighter, more narrow is on through 3 and 4. And Zach, watching these drivers, I mean, do you take each corner pretty similarly, even though they're different, or are there different aspects you're watching out for?
Well, completely different aspects on each side of these racetracks. As they come out of 2 here, we'll talk about is this going to be side by side with Nick Crawford and Mason Cassidy heading into 3. Much more tighter radius corner. That means this corner is much more slow speed. The rates that are going around this corner, you got to keep it very low, but you also want to keep it up against the wall. That's where the speed's at, carrying the longer radius around the corner to keep the momentum for the straightaways. But sometimes it's worse on the tires as you head into 1 and 2. This corner much larger, much more speed. You actually go full throttle through the center, then lift again as it tightens up off the exit of 2. And that's where you see a lot of problems is sideways for Noah Steele down the back straightaway. As you can see, Darlington, it's a wild ride.
And as well with drivers, if you got a slow one in front of you, you can really stack up, and those accordion effects just balloon throughout the field as Nick Crawford and others continue to struggle. As that's Joshua Kanata in the purple machine with a big wiggle off the exit of the corner. Setting up, you see Blake Hoppy, recovery run for the 31. Lost over 7 positions. He'll take at least one of them back, moving up to 11.
Excellent pass there from Hoppy, but also great patience from Kanata, who was a little bit sideways, just gave that position up. Could race probably side by side into 1 and 2, but Much harder to do that than race side by side here in 3 and 4, which opens up for the side by side racing, where 1 and 2 is when you go side by side through there, you're just hoping you can make it through without wrecking. Is this going to be Ryan Ferraro now making a look a move and breaky as they got checked up from the momentum, also being side by side?
Saw an opportunity, did not want to give it up. Might have been a little bit of a late delayed move to the inside, but Ryan Ferraro keeping the momentum and speed, and he'll get by Logan Breaky. And because Breaky had a strugglesome corner, it hurts for both straightaways. It's the 29 being hunted by Matt Dyer, as well as seeing Justin Smith try to follow suit and get by the 29.
Just getting freight trained now, Sam. And he's got to try to get up here now in front of the 5 of Moniz, but it's not going to happen here as he goes into 1 and 2. We'll see. Does he fight back on the bottom, or Moniz go around the outside? And right now, Breaky in an inevitable fallback here, as I think he'll finally find a slot into the 17 position, but gets loose off of 2. And he's going to have to hold on, as now all 3 of those trucks right behind him, his teammate Eric Stan, Cody Reed, and the 19 Tyler Dingo go by to put him back in 20th.
The 29 just getting a sense of what it's like to snowball here at Darlington. It goes from bad to worse. Looked like just one bad slip up, and it continuously mounted up with the amount of drivers behind the 29, given 0 opening, and now is pushed. Logan Breaky all the way back to 20th position, when originally he was up battling for 12th before this sequence went through. Other drivers that are battling with one another up to 2nd place. Mark Whitley finally finding an opening to get to the inside of Malik Coots, but Malik fighting back, a little bit of brush to the outside wall, but keeping his foot in the throttle, still side by side. 77 aims for the slide job move, finally clear, and Malik really had to back off there.
That right there was an aggressive maneuver from Mark Whitley, and he knew he had to get the pass done. And Malik into the outside wall, last week's winner from Dover. That might open up the door, an opportunity now for Nick Crawford to follow Mark Whitley through. And that would be exactly what Nick Crawford wants to see, is just following a driver through, taking advantage of another driver's mistake like that. And he just doesn't clear off a 4. He's going to have to fight back, but I think here in the 1, he's going to have plenty of space as he does finally clear. And he takes over that 3rd position with really relative ease.
Looking back, Nick Crawford driving the Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback to the DEI days. He was in a Budweiser machine, and 74 up to 3rd place. Get to see some other battles behind as Mason Cassidy continues to fall backwards for himself. Now it's the 2. Danny Concord moves up to 5th place. Danny needing a major recovery run for this 2 machine, as it has been a horrendous last season for himself, and seems to be trying to carry over to this season for the 2.
He really needs something good to go well for him, man, because it's been a bumpy road for Danny ever since winning that championship. It's just been downhill. It's been a lot of bad luck. He still had those flash moments of speed, not as often as he's had, but definitely, he's gone through the bumpy road. He's trying to make it through it, and I think if he does break through and get that win or get a few good runs underneath his belt, you're going to see this 2 competing a lot more consistently up front like he used to.
That the 2 of Danny Cochran, as well as Nick Crawford, former champions his last 2 seasons, and both of them trying to beat out that championship curse. Trent Jump, I think the 46 is the only one that's really beaten it after getting a win, after winning the championship back in season 2. 46 hoping to continue on with that good momentum. Rest of the field single filing out, and not a lot of movement going on. It's more so of just finding your own spacing on the track to run with one another, and it looks to be, Zach, back to what most drivers talk about when you ask for tips about Darlington, which is that you're more so driving the track itself than the competitors around you, as we're right on board with 21 of Kyle Rochelle.
The good old quote of race the racetrack, not your competition. That's what you're going to have here a lot of times at Darlington. That's why you see sometimes it's spread out even here a lot of times, is where drivers are just going to get into their own little rhythm in their own zone on the track, and that can be your best chance. You're only 18 laps into a 125 lap event here. You have a stage caution at lap 50. There's no reason to go out here and just get over aggressive and put yourself in the wall. That could hurt your whole night, as you see drivers still trying to make it through here early in this first stage.
And with the stage break being at lap 50, I was not given the full number on the fuel run for this race. I don't know if you were given that number, Zach. Are the drivers able to make it, or are we just crossing our fingers and hoping the drivers have enough fuel to make it to the stage?
They will be good, Sam. So looking at the numbers here, Ollie Fonseca is going to make the move on Kyle Rochelle. One has a tight squeeze there as he made that maneuver to push himself up to that 7th position. But we are good on fuel. 56 to 57 laps is what we're hearing. So they should be plenty fine. We'll just see if we stay green, because the thing we'll be worried about the most during this run is those Goodyear tires.
Goodyear tires, some starting to fall off. If you were aggressive in the early portions, and drivers that were being a little bit more patient were starting to close in on one another. Olive Fonseca up 2 spots. Now Michelle now falling down 1. Another gap I'm curious about watching out for. That is the gap for the lead. Trenton Jump ballooned out his gap to 2nd place by over a second. It has now been cut down to just a simple half a second. And Trenton Jump has got to start to worry, because Mark Whitley, Nick Crawford, as well as Malik Kuntz are starting to close in on our leader. Fastest driver, though, out on track. He's the 74. Nick Crawford in 3rd place, though.
Nick Crawford looking very, very strong, and same with Mark Whitley at the time. Same even Malik Kuntz there as his 2nd, 3rd place, and 4th place trucks, all gaining on our leader, who, not surprised that he's struggling. He really took off like out of a cannon there and really built a gap. Usually that happens here at Darlington. We'll see how easily they can get to him and maybe make a pass, because clean air is so valuable, but he does seem to be struggling here, Sam. And one thing I've noticed, this track, we talk about being single groove. Yes, it's very much is single groove, but 3 and 4, you have options. You can run the bottom, you can run the top, and a few drivers like Nick Crawford I'm watching run the bottom of 3 and 4. It's been known to actually save a little bit of tire to run down there, as it's a little bit slower in the short run, but it could come back around here for this 74, who's really gaining, just like the 77 is awesome.
Starting to gain, starting to see that window shrinking. Now it's kind of equal distance between 1st to 2nd and 2nd back to 3rd, as the drivers starting to see those battles closing in greatly. Like we've been noting on, drivers do have a stage break at the end of lap 50, unless a caution flag would wave at lap 45 or after lap 45 to lap 50. That is the window where if a caution flag would come out, it would count as our stage break, and only the top 10 drivers at the stage break caution get bonus points every lap. So crucial for themselves. 7-4, Nick Crawford now within 3/10 of Mark Whitley, and Mark Whitley 3/10, 4/10 now to Trenton Jump. Just starting to close in, and it's going to be a great battle here very shortly for the lead position.
It really is. Mark Whitley in the wall there. That's going to check him up off of 1 and 2. And now Nick Crawford going to dive to the inside. Going to have a good run here heading down in the 3 and 4. And he's had his preferred line down here in the bottom. This should be a nice moment for Nick Crawford. If he can just make sure he rolls this bottom nice and smooth, he could have a good run off. But Mark Whitley trying to fight back on the outside. It's going to be side by side down the front straight. Nick Crawford loose, though, and losing the time.
Got a little scoop from Mark Whitley initially breaking loose. Let's hop on board with the 74, get an onboard cockpit view. This is what most drivers are seeing if they're just running with one monitor. And the 74 still working the wheel, doing small adjustments right on the back bumper, but there's a caution in the background. Yellow flag strikes right when we hit the halfway marker of the stage, and it's the 6, Justin Smith, brings out our first caution of the day.
6 around and heavy nose damages. Looks like maybe got into the inside wall after having a little bit of a loose run off of 4 and then some contact as the driver behind him couldn't check up. But that's 6 of Justin Smith there. Heavy nose damage, Sam. That's tough to see for him, as this track's so aero dependent, and I even think his motor's even showing signs of a little bit of smoke coming out of it. So could be a good bit of engine damage there for the 6, as required damage is there.
And at the time of the caution coming out, the 6 was battling for 16th position at the time with Eric Stamp. As we take a look at this incident, watch out for the 53 and the 6. Again, initially the 6 is going to break loose, but might have gotten a little bit of help off the exit of the corner.
Just a teeny bit, I think, Sam. I think it was already gone. He might have saved it, but the 53 was right there, tucked up underneath him, Eric Stamp, and really couldn't even have the time to check up. So we'll see here from this shot from the bumper. We'll see how close he got. You can see they did actually make contact at some point, but I think it was just at the point where he was already stepping outside of us.
Yeah, it was already a lost cause. And then pulling it back out into the track is what brought out the yellow, because of oncoming traffic and the car being completely perpendicular with the rest of the field. So had to bring out the yellow there. That's going to reset the field, and expecting a lot to come in. 4 tires and fuel for the majority of the field, except for 2. Going to be seeing GT Rosari not deciding to come into pit road. Matt Upbrook drove just through pit road, so might see the 15 pull in and kind of do a late stop and go to get a little bit of an extra tap of fuel right before getting back out on track. But this is a first caution and first attempt for drivers to get some repairs that maybe they needed after getting their first Darlington stripes of the night.
Definitely getting those right front fenders pulled back out, even those doors. And we're seeing here GT Azari and Upbrook both turn back up onto the track here, Sam. So not going to pit for these two. And interesting decision making there. Personally, with 5 sets of tires here tonight, drivers just pit that had pit right there. All of them more than likely took 4 tires and fuel, taking away one of their sets of tires that they had in pit road, which was 4 due to the 1 set already being on the truck with the 5. So I don't think they're in a terrible spot either, because we still have 3 sets of tires and they can go still a considerable amount with a 1 stop to the end of this race.
Well, the one thing that drivers are going to be concerned about is Matt Upbrook. He's going to be in second place on the outside for this restart, but he's been having some internet connection issues. He's got 2 very hungry drivers in the row behind him, Nick Crawford as well as Trenton Jump and Mark Whitley. Very quick, willing to get aggressive here. And we'll see how the drivers can hold on. Well, if you're just joining with us, thank you for stopping on by to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Currently, we are watching the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series Season 5, race number 6 of the season. Tonight's race is sponsored by Larry Art Productions. It's the Larry Art Productions and the Darlington Throwback as 170 at Darlington Raceway. And the drivers get prepared. Stage break at the end of lap 50. Who will be in the top 10 at our stage break and grab those bonus points? Two drivers with old tires leading the charge. A bad start for the outside lane. And here we go. And oh no, a very poor restart for the 15 machine, who just gets out of the way in front of Mark Whitley.
Jumps out of the way, but it's a log jam back from that 3rd positional back as Trenton Jump goes right around the outside of the 14 Irizarias. Now they come down the back straightaway. It's going to be that 98 and the 77 catching up, but the 14's just going to pull over and let them all go.
Got the lap lead with GT Rosario. That was the ultimate goal and save a set of tires for later on in the race. Trenton Jump because of the poor launch on the outside line, and Malik Coates, Mark Whitley, bad contact with the keep it straight. Could have been a bad wreck off the exit of 4, and the 98 will take that little bit of a bump and run and take the 2nd position.
So close, even contact there between the 17 and the 74 as they get all single filed out. As now it's going to be Dan Cochran sliding into 6th, as they all got super aggressive here, as they know that stage is coming up here in the next 20 laps, and they've already done less laps. They have less laps green than they had previously.
Gunning it, who can take each position. As up front, a lot of single file racing, but it's the side-by-side Ollie Fonseca getting by Kyle Rochelle. Rochelle trying to hold off Anthony Gaudio. And the 3 machine looked like he was antsy and ready to go, but could not find an opening. And behind them, Blake Hoppy, Joshua Kanata, Cody Reed. Blake Hoppy, Cody Reed, the biggest losers on our first initial launch on losing over 6 positions each. Well, now they're both on the charge moving forward. Cody Reed, from losing 9 spots, now has just lost 1 spot from where he qualified. What a run for this 25 recovery.
Huge track position gain there for the 25. Like you said, it was really a huge loser. Was really the driver that lost the most spots in the beginning of that first run. Now back up here with some good track position. As you can see here, it's Nick Crawford all over the back bumper of the 77 Whitley, who's starting to make something happen here with Coots, as these 2nd, 3rd place, and 4th place drivers are all over each other.
Billy Coons, 98 machine, trying to hold off Mark Whitley riding on the front bumper of Nick Crawford as Crawford gets to the inside quarter panel. 77 looking very out of shape of the exit of the corner, but luckily has just enough space to make sure he doesn't get in that outside wall. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th that you see on screen. Our leader, Trenton Jump, already got to a 1.5-second lead over 2nd place. But every time we get off an exit of the corner here, Zach, Mark Whitley looks almost terrifying to watch with how loose he is. Aggressive dive bomb move into turn number 3, exit of 4. 77, 98 still side by side and able to keep off one another there.
Able to keep off one another, but it's still close, heading down to 1 and 2 as the 77 going to be to the inside of the 98. He's going to have to back out. It's now the 74 going to dive to the inside, possibly with the momentum loss from the 77, but just couldn't do it. Backed out of it as he touched that line. Got loose as they're almost wrecking farther behind.
Right behind them, Danny Cochran, Ollie Fonseca, big losses of speed off the exit of the corner, and he was contacted the rear bumper of the 2 from the 24 after Danny Cochran brushing the outside wall. The exit of turn 2, dangerous position as well, the exit of 4, and drivers are showing it is a tough spot to get through, and Ollie Fonseca, a driver that shockingly had a lot of speed last season here at Darlington, even with a lack of practice. The 24 willing to get aggressive, but looks to be really trapped after being held up by Danny there.
And yeah, that 2 getting into the outside wall really checked this 24 up and made him lose even more than the 2 that he lost position to the 3, who he just went side by side with down there in 1 and 2. Just couldn't get the pass done. But one thing I'm seeing, Sam, guys are being a lot more aggressive with the side by side racing in 1 and 2. They're being much more willing to do that, and that usually happens the farther we get into the race, and we're only 35 in.
Well, also, it's a lot of learning on what the tires were reacting. I think drivers might have learned after that first caution of, hey, we can be a little bit more aggressive for some. Maybe we were being a little bit too passive. As Danny Cochran, again, massive error off the exit of the corner, losing multiple positions as the 2 falls to 10th place and now is under heavy fire. That could be Joshua Kanata behind him, but Blake Hoppy, and oh, goodness, get that of Anthony Gaudio, major block for the 3 to the 31, side by side through the corner, and I don't know how they held it on the entry of this corner.
I don't know how they did either. Same as just side by side down the back straightaway to 31, actually with a good run. They're all on the bottom now, going to be able to dive into 3 and 4 and get the clear and just let the 31 in. There's the 3, I believe, cut him a little slack, as now he'll have Danny Cochran right behind him trying to make something happen. And with even now Kanata, as you can see, momentum loss causes everybody to stack up on top of each other.
And the drivers to watch out, Cody Reed, Eric Stamp, who just closed in on the gap of this pack that we've been watching out for. They are running about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times faster than these 4 drivers. So watch out for the 25 and the 53. If they decide to try to duck it down low and go for a pass, as you're right on board with Joshua Kanata and seeing the 25 with Cody Reed behind, setting up for this pass. 11th place right in front of the 25, but you want to crack into the top 10, get those bonus points as Joshua Kanata going for 10th place on the 2.
To the inside, just couldn't make it stick as he backed out of that situation on Cochran. But now that gives him opportunity. Here is Cochran again. The mistake off of 2, Sam. That's multiple times. It's the 3rd one for him here. And that's going to open up the door for Kanata just to drive it into 3 and 4, slide up in front of him, and take over that position of 10th.
Yeah, Danny is struggling. This machine just does not look comfortable under his wheelmanship. And a couple of other drivers also struggling. Saw Cody Smith off the exit of turn 2 as well in that long shot a lap ago, having a bad exit at turn number 2. We'll see here Cody Reed, easy pass, the 25 sets up and now has to charge on Joshua Kanata. Alliances between the 16 and the 25. The question is, who's going to get that 1 bonus point? Going to be very crucial for later on and setting up to make it into the playoffs.
It really can be. We see how much 1 point can matter throughout all the seasons we've been here at ISRC. Every point definitely matters. As we're on lap 41 here, we're closing into that lap 50 stage. And I'll tell you what, Trenton Jump really opened that gap up, but that battle for 2nd and 3rd has never really stopped. Malik Kuntz has been under constant pressure from Mark Whitley, and Whitley's kind of had constant pressure from Nick Crawford. So it's been a back and forth act between all of these drivers up in this front group.
Try to survive, try to get the best finish you can. Malik Kuntz has done a fabulous job holding off Mark Whitley, and Nick Crawford trying to figure out how to set up to make one of these passes just to gain some extra bonus points as Trent Jump across the line. And when he does, it will be 8 laps to go before this stage is over. Top 10 get bonus points. First place gets 10 bonus points. Second gets 9 bonus points. Third gets 8, and it continues to dwindle down by 1 point after that. And Mark Whitley, Nick Crawford closing in. Again, just looking like they need more of a bigger mistake to actually attempt one of these passes.
You need that driver ahead of you to lose big-time momentum to where you can get far enough to where your nose is ahead. If you can enter the corner and nose ahead, you feel confident. But now down the back straightaway, big run for Whitley here. Can he enter, like I said, a nose ahead? He's going to dive away on the bottom here. I don't know if that's going to be the maneuver as he's going to try to pull the slide job off. And I think he's going to get it done. Can Kuntz cross him over as he's a little loose off of 4, but just can't do it as Whitley covers it off. But now here comes Nick Crawford with a chance.
Malik Kuntz had the momentum, but didn't have the confidence to send it down low. Instead, he'll have to settle for being passed by Nick Crawford. Kind of a little bit of deja vu in what we saw happen to Logan Brakey earlier in the race. You lose an opportunity to go for a pass. You give up your momentum. The drivers behind you won't. They will attack. And for the 98, he's got to be careful not to lose any more ground as Mason Cassidy, Kyle Rochelle aim to go for these positions.
Kyle Rochelle and Mason Cassidy, man, these two right here having great runs tonight. That is huge for them. As Kyle Rochelle really coming into the picture here. As I mean, he's up one, he qualified well tonight, so no surprise with the speed he's shown. Definitely still some of the consistency we thought we maybe would see from this 21 in previous seasons, maybe starting to show up. But I tell you one thing they have a very slim chance of, and that's catching Trenton Jump, because he has opened up about a 2.5 second gap. And with only 5 laps to go here in the stage, it does not very likely that Mark Whitley is going to have any chance of running down that 46 up front.
No, it's going to need some massive mistakes by Trenton Jump and also just amazing runs by the 77 of Mark Whitley and Nick Crawford. And looking at these drivers are inside of our top 6. Malik Kuntz, we talked about what a run he had at Dover, dominating, getting that first win, getting the monkey off his back. Kyle Rochelle as well, the 21. He's had a very major slump last season and into this season, and the 21 was able to kick off that slump last week as well, getting a 2nd place finish at Dover. So good to see both drivers that had a good run at Dover have carried over here to Darlington.
It really is good to see that it's carried over here and completely different tracks. I mean, nothing you can really take away from those two other than maybe just saving the tires and keeping the tire wear in a good condition. Is Cassidy up into the wall. That's going to check him up, lose some momentum, and now the 21 going to look to the inside, but just not a good enough run for Kyle Rochelle to do anything with it. But a few more times that 17 gets in the wall, he might be able to get into a top 5 spot.
Trying to move in if it's possible. That Mason Cassidy comes into the night very much on the low bar of points, needing a major finish here tonight, as Cassidy is all the way back in 26th position in points, and other drivers that are trying to make some good recovery runs. 31, Blake Hoppy in 8th position. He's going to be trying to get by Ollie Fonseca, which kudos to Ollie after the little bit of bickering between himself and Danny Cochran that both lost each other time. 24 up 7th place, and looking at his last couple of laps, Ollie Fonseca has been very quick. This 24 could be competing for some of these drivers up to the top 4.
He really could. He's definitely showing signs. The big slide for the 31 there is now he's going to have Anthony Gaudio looking to his outside here. And that just shows you lost some momentum again. You can really have those mistakes that allow those positions to be taken. And now the crossover here from the 3 at Gaudio with some great racing here at the end of the stage.
Trying to make these passes. Technically, it's the white flag of the stage. And Trenton Jump up front just put down Matt Dyer a lap down. Matt Dyer deciding not to take tires as Gaudio, Hoppy, almost contact as the 3 able to make the pass. 31 trying to set up to make a move on the entry of turn 4, as it's again got to wait for the top 10 drivers to cross the line. Once 10th place crosses the line, that will be the official stage break. Cody Reed hoping for a last pass opportunity as they come across the line, block and almost a wreck as the yellow flag waves.
Aggressive racing there for the last few points in that stage, and shows you what these drivers are willing to do here, man, just for a few bonus points. So we'll see how the rest of the race shakes out. But Trenton Jump looking to go back-to-back here, Sam, and that's a great way to start off with a stage win.
That it is. Trenton Jump taking the stage win. That is going to be your Team Watson Racing setup stage break. If you'd like to go get yourself set up with some of the best setups out there, go to Team Watson Racing Setups, as well as they can get you prepared for each week and what the tracks are running. Top tier drivers helping out to make sure the setups are perfect for you. Go head over to teamwatsonracing.com to find your setups. Trenton Jump, congratulations on the win. Mark Whitley going to get 2nd, Nick Crawford 3rd, 4th goes to Malik Kuntz, Mason Cassidy will get 5th, 6th goes to Kyle Rochelle, Ollie Fonseca will get 7th, Anthony Gaudio 8th, 9th is Blake Hoppy, and 10th position will go to Cody Reed. driver going to get the lucky dog position, Matt Dyer, who decided not to take tires under the yellow flag, so he joins with GT Rosario and Matt Upbrook on having an extra set for later on in this race as everyone hits pit road. Zach, I'm expecting the same thing that we saw in the last caution, 4 tires and fuel.
4 tires and fuel for sure for everybody here, in my opinion. They all want as much grip as possible, but do they make mistakes? That's the key here. This is where you can make your money or lose it as you come to pit road, get into that box. It looks easy, but when you're coming down here at upwards of 60 mile an hour, it can be a tough time getting into your box.
Everyone's sliding in. And, talking about getting into your box, getting into pit entry also can be a very scary thing. Last season, had drivers even running into the barrels as they were trying to enter, hoping to not have those mistakes as drivers are leaving their box. Getting out there on track, Trenton jump, bad exit, and he's not going to be the first driver. It's Mark Whitley, Nick Crawford, and Jump falling to 3rd place.
Big time loss there for the 46, and I don't even think that he actually had any issues. It's just not a good entry and not a good exit for him, and loses the positioning.
And right before we talk to our stage winner of Trenton Jump, we do have an announcement. We have our Larry Art Productions Throwback Scheme winner. The winner of the driver picked by Larry Arts himself is going to be the 53 of Eric Stamp. Congratulations on taking the Throwback Scheme award. There is your winner. $25 goes to Eric Stamp on what Larry deemed the best throwback of the night.
Looking very good there in that Dylan Hart scheme throwback, man. I like that, and always looking good in the black and white.
Always does. Again, congratulations to Eric Stamp. Now let's bounce over to his teammate. That's going to be Trenton Jump, and see if we can queue up the 46 machine before we get back to racing action. And let's see if we can pull him up to the booth. Trenton Jump, it's Sam and Zach by the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you are a stage winner here tonight. Man, how are you feeling? How's this truck feeling in those first 50 laps?
It's a lot different from last year. It's tight and then it's loose, and it's tight and it's loose. It's weird. I don't know, it just feels slow here, but so far so good, no complaints. So hopefully we're gonna hang on to this thing.
Well, Trenton, you started in that 4th position, man, and you got to the lead pretty quickly. You fell back to 3rd here with that pit stop. How do you feel about getting back to the lead here before this thing's out?
Yeah, we're just gonna play it by ear here and see how it goes. Like, for whatever reason, had a really slow pit stop. As soon as my jack went down, I watched those two were already leaving their pit box somehow. So, thanks, iRacing.
Well, we're hoping, Trenton, you can get up there and challenge for this lead. What is your confidence level on trying to get back to that lead position?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just like I said, I'm just gonna play it by ear here and see how things go, and hopefully we'll cycle back out there.
Well, we're hoping for the best for you, Trenton. Good luck. We'll send you back to your team, and we hope to talk to you later.
Sounds good, boys.
That's going to be Armadillo's racing driver of Trenton Jump, getting a stage win for the 46. Pretty good at getting those stage wins, Zach, is Trenton Jump.
He really is. He is, in my mind, the driver that has been most fondly getting the stage victories. I would, one day we're going to have to compile those stats and see who is, got the most stage victories in ISRC history, because I know the 46 hasn't been here for all the seasons, but he's been here for a majority of them, and he's won a lot of stages, and that's a good way to get yourself some good points and make sure you're coming out of each race with at least something in your back pocket.
And man, getting those major stage points, leading laps, all the bonus points combined really does help you if you have a bad night later on. So 46 might be starting in 3rd here, but at least someone we know can be quick. Our top 6 drivers, or drivers are qualified instead of the top 7, showing track position is so crucial. But it's time to find out who's going to win here tonight for the Larry Productions and the Darlington Throwback 170, as we are back to green flag action. Mark Whitley, Nick Crawford going to be your front 2 with a 77 already done and dusted down into turn number 1.
Great start from Mark Whitley, but can Nick Crawford hold second? That's what he's trying to do in the 74 here as they go through 1 and 2. Malik Kuntz, though, being aggressive on the outside, trying to use every little bit of grip he has. His Trenton Jump goes for a full 4-wheel slide off 2.
Major slide for the 46, but it keeps the momentum high. The battle for second place, hot and heavy. Malik Kuntz, the outside wall, keeping it off the wall, but very close to a mistake. Exit the corner, squeezing every little bit out of these trucks to keep the momentum high as they continue to stay side by side. Nick Crawford, Malik Kuntz who will make the mistake and give up the spot. It's the 98, looks too close to the outside wall. A lot of movement in the center of the corner, and it gives the spot to the 74. But Malik Kuntz's day is not done just yet, as you saw a train of drivers in the back all have a bad exit of 2.
Bad exits off of 2, and I think a few drivers into the outside wall. I think it was around this 34, Ryan Ferraro, and that was a huge moment. As luckily we stay green here and everybody stays pointing forward and we keep the momentum straight, but that could have been a huge moment in this race to get a yellow right back after this stage.
It's a known thing that is a possibility in a lot of these races. Back in season 1, when they first initially raced here at Darlington, and last season for season 4, drivers were seeing about a lap or 2 after a restart. There was at least 1 to 2 cautions that were like that. So we haven't had a wreck similar to those wrecks, but everyone's hoping this race can find a way to stay green. Mark Whitley's leading the way, is right on board the 34 of Ryan Ferraro, back in 17th position. He's got Noah Steele behind him. Also Tyler Dangler right in front of him in the 19. Haven't talked about Tyler that much here tonight, nor have we really talked about Dakota Moniz. Both having solid nights inside of the top 15.
Having solid nights for sure, Sam, and that's the key here, is to stay out of trouble. And you can have those nights where you come in here, you don't have a lot of expectations, as I think Tyler Dingler, I talked a little bit to him before this race started, and he said, didn't get any laps in this week, and I didn't feel the most confident coming into the night, and we'll see where it goes. And right now, I think the top 15 is looking good for him, along with Dakota Moniz there, as we're watching that Tony Stewart throwback there in 13th. It looks like now going to be Logan breaking the Mike Skinner throwback, diving to the inside.
Seeing a lot of those drivers bouncing to the inside, carrying every momentum you can. That Old Spice machine, outside groove in the red. It's a pretty looking truck that 5 is rolling here tonight. And Dakota needing a strong top 15 run to keep the points moving forward for himself. As saying, Joshua Kanata in the purple machine trying to pull away as Logan Breakey. He's back to where he qualified, but not for very long, as Tyler Dangler thought about bouncing it and going for a pass.
He really did think about that for a moment, but backed out of the situation. But now it's Ryan Ferraro trying to dive it up the inside of Noah Steele, but a little bit of a snap loose there moment for the 8 as he holds on. As even behind that, another driver went for a ride, as I believe that might have been Tyler, it looked like Matt Lundberg.
That's going to be 7 having an issue for himself, falling back, and that's Cody Smith. I think that's the 3rd time he's had a major slip up for himself. Driver to watch out for, though, it's got to be GT Rossari, Matt Dyer, and Ryan Ferraro. How are they going to recover with the decisions of, just going through and attacking, not Ryan Ferraro, but Tyler Horn, just deciding to make these attacking moves with the tire strategy calls, as they all have an extra set compared to those of everyone else out there on track.
Very interesting decisions they made there in stage 1 to have the extra set of tires. And I tell you, if we do have a caution here pretty quickly, I think you'll see them be pretty aggressive to use that extra set, because we have 3 other ones still on pit road. So we'll see how they elect to hold the strategy. But that's 7 of Cody Smith. He's been having a little bit of trouble, as Matt Dyer's seeing that right behind him.
And Matt Dyer just trying to survive at this moment, watching and kind of banking on a caution to get into the mix. Matt Upbrook, Tyler Horn, side by side, 15. Started this race in pit road, tried the gutsy call of not taking tires, just drove through his box initially, and at this point 15 up to 20th position and up 6 spots because he was the last driver to start tonight's race. So not bad for a driver where he starts, as the back half of the field kind of calming down as they're single filing out. Drivers up in 4th place, though, starting to get a little bit more aggressive, as Trenton Jump got by Malik Kuntz, but Kuntz is not in a safe spot. Kyle Rochelle, Mason Cassidy, but it's the driver in 7th place that I'm more so circling. Ollie Fonseca is hounding our pole sitter.
He is all over the back bumper of the 17, as that group is just stacked up from the 3rd position all the way personally back to 9th. It's been pretty much cutthroat for a lot of these drivers with the maneuvers they're looking to make. They're trying to get in the track position and go forward. As Fonseca, like I said, it's been all over the back bumper of this pole setter. You see even ahead the 21's all over the 98 also.
All over and trying to set up for each one of these passes. 66 laps in of 125. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us here this evening, as Ollie Fonseca is trying to set up to go for this pass and is about to clearly make it here. We'll wait for this pass to be done before we send it to a commercial break, but thank you so much for being with us here tonight As Ollie Fonseca completes the pass and Mason Cassidy starts to fumble backwards. We will take you to a quick commercial break as you're watching the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Season 5. Lariat Productions Throwback race here at Darlington. It's been a good one so far. Mark Whitley leading the way, but can Trent Jump recover to join back that lead spot? As we get ourselves prepared and ready to go, the Lariat Productions race at Darlington. It's been a good one. We'll see you right after this.
They're 5 wide behind her pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here. Coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. I know Carter gets run. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series, as tonight's race is the Lariat Productions at the Darlington Throwback 170, and it has been a good one so far. Saw that first stage go all domination of Trenton Jump, and then since the stage break, and there was a little bit of swappage of positions under pit road, the race has moved over. The 77 of Mark Whitley been dominating this race so far. Nick Crawford thought he was closing in on the gap, but starting to see those tires wearing down differently for all different parties. Also, some other updates deeper in the field. Austin Halsey and Joshua Freed have both called it a night. Still in pit road is Justin Smith after bringing out our first caution of the day. And other drivers hitting pit road. It's our scheme winner from Lariat Productions. It's the 53 of Eric Stamp coming into pit road. Zach, is this too early or is this right on time?
Well, this is in the window. He can make it to the end of this race here. It is early, though, in my opinion. This is a very, very early stop. I was expecting somewhere around 90 to 95 for more drivers to go pit, maybe 85, so around 10 laps from now. But yeah, early decision for Eric Stamp. Just kind of maybe throwing a Hail Mary here, and maybe if he gets a caution at the right transition point through this, pit stop sequence, he could transition to the lead with some track position there.
He's going to need a late caution to make that transitional phase work out. You are watching all of this incredible racing on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall, Robert Murray Jr. Racing Productions in the background. And this race is a throwback race, so that's how you're seeing some of these throwback schemes out on course. Top four: Mark Whitley, Nick Crawford, Trenton Jump, Malik Kuntz, and Malik being our last week's winner. Continuing on a great trend here, Zach. Top five looking pretty swell for the 98 and the 21 of Kyle Rochelle.
It's just showing, man, you have good runs, they usually trend to continue. It's just something about when you're a driver and you get that weight off your shoulders of, oh man, I just got a victory and everything changed for me in this league that I've been having so much tough luck in. It kind of just takes that weight off your shoulders, as I was saying, and you just go out there and you perform with less pressure and you have more fun. And I think that's where the 98's in. Even the 21, Kyle Rochelle, who's shown a resurgence also after 2 good weeks of running. But you can see right there, 98, he's definitely still risking it because he's flirting with disaster off of 4.
He certainly is. And for Malik Kuntz, he is about 7/10 off of Trenton Jump, but has a decent gap behind to Kyle Rochelle, which Kyle Rochelle, on his part, is under slight pressure. Ollie Fonseca has caught up to the 21's back bumper and been trying to force a mistake after getting by Mason Cassidy, the 17 getting the pole award. Well, this 21 of Kyle Rochelle trying to go for his second top 5 and top 10 finish of the season. Last week was his first top 5 finish and top 10 finish of the season. So, and keeping the momentum up, getting either a top 5 or a top 10, still a positive run for Kyle Rochelle, who's currently 14th in points.
Definitely a positive run for sure, and had good stage points even there at lap 50, so that was huge for his team. But definitely the pressure being put on from Ali Fonseca as this group here is stacked up from Mason Cassidy all the way back to Cody Reed in the 8th position. Is now Fonseca taking a look off of 4. Can he get the nose inside before 1? And will look there. Let's see if he can get the maneuver done. As we see him make this same maneuver right before we went to commercial break. Gets it done again, Sam.
Gets it done, and Kyle Rochelle overly giving up positions for the 24, and lets Mason Cassidy go on by, but Cassidy with a big old slip, and that's going to kill the momentum for both drivers. Cody Reed to the inside, able to make the pass now for 7, and Kyle Rochelle losing 3 positions in a blink of an eye, just showing how fast, if you make a mistake here at Darlington, it can backfire instantly.
And it's crazy to see that there because that's multiple times we've seen that exact same thing play out tonight, where a driver loses one spot, then they lose another one, and maybe even possibly another there. So stacking up the multiple positions lost just by being, out of the groove or just lifting for a moment. As this truck is so momentum based, you lose a little bit of momentum. It's tough to gain it back. As we're watching Blake Hoppy here start to try to gain on Anthony Gaudio here, who's both these drivers having somewhat of quiet runs here tonight.
Quiet runs for themselves. Blake Hoppy still trying to recover after his big slide that he had at the start of the race, just showing how much track position has just been falling off for some drivers. But if we look around the field, it certainly is interesting when you look at drivers that have been moving forward, those that have fallen back. And also an update for Justin Smith, who was part of our first caution of the day. The 6 car is back out on track, trying to get laps back to at least pass Austin Halsey and Joshua Freed, who've already caught and have called it a night for themselves. The 21, Kyle Rochelle and Anthony Gaudio, they're ramping it back up.
Ramping it back up for sure. As it seems like Rochelle's starting to struggle a little bit this run. Is not liking maybe the likes of his truck, or just has overworked those tires here early in the run, and now feeling that pressure from the 3 truck of Anthony Gaudio, who is trying to come back into the limelight here in ISRC. I mean, he's had some great runs. He's won here in the past, and let's see if the 3 can get back to those winning ways, as Darlington could be a good way to start that. But yeah, Rochelle just seeming to struggle a little bit more this run, Sam.
Assuming to struggle. Also, a report of Tyler Horn has pulled into pit road. Here's other battles that are going out on track. This is for 14th position. Tyler Dangler, haven't talked about him very much here tonight. Up 6 positions, and GT Rosari up 9 positions. Some of our biggest movers of the day battling for 14th position, and GT got the run that he needs to go for this pass.
Rosari's been making passes all night long after his strategy call in stage 1, but gets the pass done in 3 and 4 there with maybe a little bit of help in Curious driving there from the 19 and Tyler Dingler, who just says, you know what, instead of racing side by side here, I think I'm just going to give this one up to you here. GT, you take 13th. I'll hold on to this 14th position for now.
And a nice clean pass being made. Also, update for drivers coming into pit road. Aldi Fonseca made the pass and now is going into pit road, the 24, one of the earlier pit stops. Also Noah Steele going into pit road at the same time. Drivers we have talked about. Darlington, Dave Dover last week being a tough entry to pit road. Zach, even tonight, another tough task.
Very, very tough. I think it's back-to-back weeks of the toughest pit roads to get on. This one might even be a little bit more difficult than Dover, surprisingly, as it's very, very awkward and very far to the inside. And there's so much space on Darlington that's not used, and you got to use all of that to get the pit road. It is very, very tough to do, and also a very long pit road, so you lose tons of time. So we'll see how it shakes out here if we do get through a full green flag sequence.
And here's 4-car train. It's stacked on top of one another. Anthony Gaudio, Kyle Rochelle, Blake Hoppy, and Dakota Moniz all have just accordioned into one another and setting up on who's going to come into pit road. Mason Cassidy as well as Cody Reed having a slight battle with one another. Cassidy hits pit road. Trenton Jump has made his stop into pit road. And driver caught with issues. Looks to be a black flag pit stop for Noah Steele in the 8.
Tough break there for Noah. Is getting a black flag under these sequences right now. You're going to go multiple laps down, and he'll be in a tough position here. But Reed's still out on the track as the 77 Whitley heads come down along with Nick Crawford. So they didn't want to wait any longer and let Trenton jump out in front of the top 2 there.
More drivers over radio saying they're pitting. Dakota Moniz is going to be hitting pit stop, as well as Anthony Gaudio, Kyle Rochelle making their entries, hoping not to hit the water barrels. Is Cody Reed staying out on track, leading a couple laps, and might be asking and banking on a yellow flag to strike. Put a lot of these drivers in a tough spot. Moving forward, you're on lap 91 of 125 here tonight. No stage yellows expected after this. We could stay green and take it to the end. Who's going to win at Darlington? As we're in the middle of pit sequence, looks to be still our top 8 needing to come into pit road for themselves. Again, only driver that's been caught with a penalty was Noah Steele, who is now 3 laps down.
That's an excellent job by everybody to be only one driver getting a penalty there. But we see Reed here continuing on. In my calculations, he could probably go another 10 to 15 laps here on fuel. So we could see him stretch out as far as 105 here, but I don't know if that's going to be the game plan for him, because 20 laps to go, that's hard to make up all the time he's losing to these drivers on brand new tires who are upwards of almost 2 seconds a lap faster than this 25.
Yeah, Cody Reed really at this point just needs to get that stop and or bank on a yellow. At this point, I think he's made his bed. He's got to stay out and hope for a yellow flag to come out. Big shout out to our major sponsors here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, our title sponsor being Larry Art Productions. Go check out some of the best variety videos, comedy videos. Get your laugh on today at Larry Arts Productions on YouTube, as well as on Instagram and other socials. Other sponsors we want to give a huge shout out to, that is Orchid Moon Tattoo Studios. They were our qualifying grid sponsor. And again, if you'd like to go check out their wide range of custom tattoos, they even have full colored custom tattoos you can check out. Prints, painting, stickers, and more. Go on and head over. As contact for our leader just missed time for Cody Reed and Mark Whitley. Scary spot there, Zach, as somehow they keep him rolling forward.
Whew, that was about the drivers who were going to be in the lead when it all cycles through to, being a caution with them all involved in, as Reed luckily makes it through, but same for Whitley and Trent Jump.
Oh, big scare for themselves. And the final couple of thanks goes to the Laugh Lab, going to be our white flag sponsor. Go check out quality memes at the _laugh_lap for your laps today as more drivers have scary exits and turns around. Just the closing rate is so dangerous at this moment as Nick Crawford, Ollie Fonseca on top of one another, but Ollie Fonseca in the disadvantage for the 24 3-lap older tires than Nick Crawford.
And that's huge here at Darlington. This place is known to be a cheese grater of tires, and just even a lap or two can be a huge difference as Nick Crawford was able to just get on by that 24. But now, can he get past that truck there on that back straightaway? Luckily, he will, as they let them go by. But he's lost a ton of time, Nick Crawford did, to Trenton jump and Mark Whitley. I mean, Whitley, he pitted on the same lap as him and was only about a second and a half back from him when they pitted. But now Nick Crawford upwards of almost 4 seconds back from that 77.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird gapping issues that have kind of sprung out for a lot of the drivers that pitted around the same time and we're decently close to one another. I mean, there's like full second differences between seeing that of Mark Whitley back to Nick Crawford, which, I mean, they pitted on the same lap, but that is such a major gap between those two drivers. And then you think of Malik Coates, who as well is a huge distance back from Mark Whitley.
He really is. I mean, they lost tons of time, and Trenton Jump did a good job, though. That one lap undercut from him gave him a huge chance here to have a fight with Mark Whitley coming down to the end of this race. It's going to be tough. I think the biggest thing with our top three, the thing I noticed the most with Mark Whitley, Trenton Jump, and Nick Crawford, I feel like whichever driver got out in front and got the clean air was going to be the driver to beat. And at the moment, Mark Whitley is the one that has a hold of it, even though still second on the board with Cody Reed yet to pit.
Cody Reed still yet to pit, still hasn't shown any signs that he's going to come into pit road. We talked about fuel and when we might see some drivers come to pit road. Still 10 laps in the tank for Cody Reed to work with here before he might have to think about coming into pit road. So this 25 could be continuing to stay in a tricky situation. Mark Whitley expected to take the lead once the pit cycle fully goes through. And Trenton Jump, that one lap older tires than the 77. Can he find some magic under that rubber and find a way to get by Mark Whitley? Or can Mark Whitley get that first win of the season and finally lock himself into the playoffs and not have to worry about the point struggle that's been there for the 77, as Mark's all the way down, mired deep into the outside of the top 16. He's 18th in points coming into the night, and he's missed a race.
Yeah, I mean, it's not went well for him, Sam. And I mean, his best finish last week at Dover, a 4th place finish. And I mean, he's only led 25 laps coming into tonight's race here before this. That's unheard of for Mark Whitley. We've seen him pull off some dominating performances before here at ISRC, and it just wasn't going that way for him here to start off the season. But this could be his breakthrough, and if it does break through, there could be a lot of water behind those floodgates.
It honestly could be, and the rest of the field and just is not going to be too amped up, like, especially on the fact that if Mark Whitley finds that extra little bit of speed, because it looked to be qualifying was the trouble spot, he would get trapped and mired in the middle of the field, make a lot of mistakes, get caught up in wrecks, and that's why he wasn't able to continue with some maximum speed and effort like we've seen in past seasons. But it's hard to say, hey, even if he wins here tonight, that he's going to be able to carry that momentum, because we're going to some very tough tracks moving forward. We got New Hampshire next week, Sonoma in 2 weeks, and then Bristol. These next 3 races, we've seen Mark perform well at some of them. Same notion. We've seen other drivers perform well at those courses as well.
You're extremely correct, Sam, because those tracks are so specific. They really suit certain driving styles, and that's why you see certain drivers really perform well there and certain drivers not perform well there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that stretch works out, especially starting next week with New Hampshire, as we're seeing this group here starting to stack up. 9th position here, Joshua Kanata. He's got that 21 of Kyle Rochelle here.
Oh,
and like Hoppy and up ahead of him getting wild.
There was contact. Anthony Gaudio running over the 26 of going to be Tyler Horn, who just could not get out of the way of Anthony Gaudio, who's trying to set up a pass on Mason Cassidy. And front end damage, I believe it's going to be front right damage for the 3. Doesn't look as horrendous, but you don't want to be gaining any type of damage here at a track where, again, we talked about it all night long, momentum based. And with the 16 now closing in, I think for the 17 it's based off the tires, and for the 3 damage, I could keep them as wounded animals. And here comes Kanata wanting to take that opportunity. Here's the battle for 10th place behind him.
And here goes Hoppy here, as he's going to take that position in the 3. Great move from him to clear Kyle Rochelle. Now can he go up here and grab some spots. And he's got fresher tires than all the drivers ahead of him, so Poppy is going to be on the attack here in this last run.
Setting up now into 10th position, and Cody Reed waving the white flag, had to come into pit road for the 25, had no more fuel to extend it out any further, and it was a great run. He almost had the cautions that were needed, and for Cody Reed, now we wait to see how far down the leaderboard he falls. As other battles out on track for going to be 4th position, Ollie Fonseca, Malik Kuntz, very aggressively side by side for the both of them on who's going to take 4th.
Trying to get this maneuver done, the 98 to the inside here, and fresher tires on this 98 is going to get a little side drive to get close on the interior 3 and 4. At the bottom groove, tough to make maneuvers work. And the 24 fighting back on the outside as Malik Kuntz will be a nose ahead here at the start finish line, but it's going to be the side drive from the 24 that pulls back that 98.
And they also got to be careful because behind them, driver with fresher tires, is the 15 of Matt Upbrook, who's trying to figure out how to play a little bit of respectful gamesmanship here, allowing these two to race it out for 4th place. But the lap car wanting to get a position back. Ollie Fonseca, a little bit of a switchback move, takes the inside on the entry of turn 3. This fight is not over yet, as Ollie almost runs up the 98 up to the outside wall. And kudos to Malik Kuntz. He keeps his foot in the throttle and keeps that 4th place position.
Excellent job by him there. He got clear in 1 and 2 by giving up a little speed on the exit of the corner. That allowed the 24 to get to the inside and had the preferred groove to make the pass there in 3 and 4 on the outside to carry the momentum. He gets it done, now up to 4th and about 5 seconds back from Nick Crawford. So kind of no man's land once he goes forward here, but still a great run once again for this 98. And if a caution comes out, he's got a shot still.
Still a chance, and for some of these drivers, a caution flag is the only way they're going to get back into the fight. As see the 15 behind these drivers, that's Matt Upbrook and Cody Reed battling for position for 19th place, as Cody Reed now is on the mission for the 25 to run down Ryan Ferraro and become the first car 1 lap down and set up for just in case a late caution comes out.
Well, he was getting ran over there for a few laps before he came to pit road. Well, now he's got the job of doing the running over here, because those new tires are going to be so much faster than the rest of the drivers out there. I mean, you're going to see upwards of a second to a second and a half faster times from this 25 here for the last 17 laps of this race. So we'll see how he can work his way here, because he's got to catch up to Ferraro, who's all the way, I believe, all the way entering 3, so about a straightaway behind.
Looking at the difference, I think it's 4.5 seconds on the timing. And for Cody Reed, he needs to get by Malik Kuntz here as quickly as possible. Also, you see that right side damage. That was being collected up as the 25 was staying out longer than anyone else. He was getting into the outside wall a couple of times, also being ran over. The 25 dealing with wounded damage. Fresher tires could be the advantage that's needed to run down. Ryan Ferraro now has the clean air. It's about to be on attack mode. 16 laps to go here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us on this Darlington drive for race number 6 of the season for the Larry Art Productions Truck Series and the ISRC. And it's Mark Whitley leading the way, pulling away from Trenton Jump, as he's got the freshest tires out there. I don't think anyone's going to catch Mark unless a caution flag would wave, which, looking at the past of the history, there have been late cautions that have put us into a green-white checkered inside of regulation. So the question is, for the field, could we see that late caution as everyone else is starting to spread out?
That caution very well could happen. We've seen it plenty of times before. But with the racing we've seen here tonight, I would not be surprised if we stay green here all the way to the end of this race. And like you said, Mark Whitley, I think it's smooth sailing for him. As long as he makes no major mistakes, he's going to be holding on to, get this victory here in this first one of the season for him. It's going to be a bounce back for him. And driver watching right now, the 2, he's looking to maybe get his bounce back here in the next 2 weeks.
Danny Cochran, currently 13th place. He really is moving back and forth through the field. As, oh boy, the 5 machine to Moniz. Big slide for himself. Keeps it off the inside wall and will continue to ride forward. That was right in front of Logan Brakey for 11th position. And Dakota, what a slide and a save for himself.
That was a big old moment there from the 5. He held on to that thing, and luckily did, because that could have been the yellow coming out. And that would have been Mark Whitley's biggest enemy right there, is that yellow flag. So hanging on to it and doing a pretty much a Tony Stewart impression right there with that 5.
doing his best. Again, that's the Old Spice throwback scheme that Tony Stewart used to run, that Dakota Moniz is rolling, and he is doing his best to stay out on track and not cause any more issues. This is 5 machine, qualified in 17th position, up to 12th. Good run for Dakota here.
Definitely a good run for him there, making up 5 spots here tonight. You'll take that when you're at Darlington, man. Anytime you can gain from where you qualified, that's a good night here in the book for a lot of drivers. So Moni's fighting it all the way to the end here, but just trying to keep it straight.
As currently some of the biggest movers of the race is GTers are back in 14th, but they are all chasing this driver, this 77 of Mark Whitley, on where will he be placed with the laps continuing to tick down. And Mark Whitley, with the win, would not have to worry about the points game. He'd be locked into the playoffs and hunting once again to go for a Final Four in a championship that Mark Whitley has been chasing since season 1, when he was battling the likes of Vincent Sora, stepped away in season 2, came back for season 3 and 4, and now back for season 5. Still, the alluring championship has not been grasped by the 77 just yet.
Lots of wins, lots of checkered flags, lots of pole positions, lots of accolades to go around for the 77 here at ISRC. But he'll tell you the one thing that stands out, Sam, and that's for sure that championship. So it's definitely on his mind here. With 9 to go, to get back into victory lane, that's a good step towards trying to go do exactly what he wants to do and win a championship. So Mark Whitley trying to get back on a roll, and I think it could start here tonight with Darlington.
9 laps to go. Mark Whitley still leading the charge. There's a couple of battles still going out on track. The pass for GT Rosario on Danny Cochran for 13th was just made. Noah Steele has just pulled it into the garage area. The 8 machine is done after getting his black flag and dealing with too much damage. And the rest of the field just holding their breath. Could we see the late caution, or can we stay green? Mark Whitley and his crew all banking on this race to stay green, because it's not looking like anyone's got the speed to run down this 77.
Nobody's got the speed right now. Looking at the stopwatch, there's nothing really moving forward. Trenton Jump starting to fall back, and he's got about a 2.5 second gap back to Nick Crawford. Really, no huge, really big positions that are for battle other than 5th right now. Fonseca, who's got Blake Hoppy all over top of him for that 6th position here.
And can Blake get by and turn what was a pretty terrible, dismal start to this race and just turn it into a net equal? And for that of Ollie Fonseca, just having a decent run, continuously moving forward has been the goal of the night, and has done a great job. Qualified 9th, now up to 5th, up 4 spots. Just quality night, you could say, for this 24. For the 31 of Blake Hoppy, this was needed for himself, as this 31 has had some bad races where he gets caught up in some messes, but tonight, running decent for a top 5 potential run if he can get by this 24. And oh no, they won't. Spins out. Rex in the yellow flag strikes, and Hoppy, Fonseca, they are the ones that bring out the late caution.
And this throws everything on its head here, guys. This is going to get wild. What kind of decisions are going to be made here as contact between those two battling for a top 5 spot is going to bring out the yellow Sam, and this is the drama we were waiting for.
And this time around, it's not Trenton Jump with the late caution that's going to be hurting him. It could be Mark Whitley being hurt, because now you're in the gamemanship where I'm expecting Zach everyone to come into pit road. But if we see 8 or 9 drivers decide to stay out, this could turn this race upside down on who's going to win this race tonight.
It very well could, because it's about getting through traffic. I think tires is going to be the winning option, but if some drivers stay out and mix this field up, how do you get through that traffic? And also the tire decision here, who gambles and goes for 2?
Drivers all entering pit road. Top 3 going to be right on top of one another. 4th on back, trying to catch up to our leaders that have already entered pit road. Staying out looks to be Ollie Fonseca, the first driver to try that. Anthony Gaudio follows in suit. Kyle Rochelle, Mason Cassidy, and Joshua Kanata both going to be coming into pit road. Just 2 drivers staying out, make it 3. Might be more. It doesn't look to be so. And for the 3 drivers that stayed out here, Zach, they needed the more to follow with them on staying out on track.
They really, really did, because they're going to be in a huge deficit, man. I mean, Fonseca's got damage, but, I mean, if you can get a good enough jump, they get held up. you sometimes might be able to hold on. We'll see what happens here, but it's up in the air now, especially if you're someone like Mark Whitley, Trenton Jump. It can matter about what lane you start in just from your exit off of pit road here.
Exiting pit road, Trent Jump. Nick Crawford very close on exiting. Crawford beating out Trent Jump. Jump once again losing positions on coming into pit road.
And we'll see where that slots him. I think that's going to slot Nick Crawford in 5th, Trenton Jump in the 6th position when we all cycle through here. But which will be the best starting lane? I really don't know. I mean, Whitley's going to be up top along with Trenton Jump. Nick Crawford's going to be down low. Maybe down low would be the best way to go because, you know, the old tires are probably going to drift up. This is going to get wild. It's just really going to matter about the first driver on the 4 tires. Where can they find the opening to go forward?
And also, drivers are waiting for the numbers. If we go side by side now, we will be sending ourselves into an inside the regulation green-white checkered. But if the lights do not turn off and we continue to stay out on track, we will officially go into overtime. And it looks like, Zach, we're heading to overtime now.
That we are, and I want to see the decision made by Ali Fonseca here to pick which lane because, you know, Mark Whitley, first guy on 4 tires, going to be starting in the 4th position on that outside lane. And, you know, a lot of times drivers are going to say, I want to take that outside lane here at Darlington to start. But I don't think you want to give Mark Whitley the chance to start behind you and allow his advantage to get around the other drivers. I think if you're Ali Fonseca here, you got to take the bottom. You got to get a good jump and make sure you're clear heading down the 1. And hopefully it's a log jam from behind that opens up a gap for where you can win this race.
And Ollie over the radio has announced he is taking the top here, Zach. Interesting call by the 24, but he's risking it on the outside.
He really is. And if you're Mark Whitley, this is what you love to see. You're saying, all right, this is my opportunity. I'm on the outside. I'm going to be following the leader and hopefully clearing 2nd place when it comes off of turn 2 when we get into position. And even Trenton Jump sitting at 6, he's in a very good spot. If you're Nick Crawford, I think you're in the worst positioning now with the leader starting up top.
Yeah, there's just too many drivers in line with old tires unless you can find a way to go 3 wide. It's all contact going on with the lead drivers. Maybe some miscommunication with who was going to go where.
That was close, Sam. That almost took out all of our leaders right there. I mean, you know, stuff about Mark Whitley started 4th, being in a good spot. Well, he was almost in a real bad spot there as they almost came to a wreck there as they're getting double filed up here in 1. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Fonseca does with this start here. Again, like I said, he's got Mark Whitley right behind him. I don't know about that call. I think you got to take the bottom and try to, you know, out jump that guy on the outside to clear him into 1.
There was contact, Zach. I'm looking at the back bumper of Ollie Fonseca. Rear left damage for the 24. Front right damage for the 3. Under pacing contact when the 3 was getting a little bit too greedy on revving up too soon. But it's overtime attempt. Racing action. Green, white, checkered. If we get a yellow flag on this first lap, we go to attempt number 2. Who's winning? The Lariat Productions. Throwback at Darlington. 170. Let's find out. Into the restart zone. We're green. Wheel spin for the inside lane of the 3. Continuing to slip and slide. Nick Crawford going to go 3 wide. Mark Whitley already taking the lead. And we're not even turn 1.
And you can see having that outside lane, Mark Whitley just shot to the lead there. Huge grip for him. No grip from the other drivers behind, but it's stacking up from behind is now Rochelle to the outside wall with the 98 to his outside now 3 wide, but Nick Crawford to the bottom.
And Kyle Rochelle, old tire stuck in the middle. He's going backwards. Anthony Gotti. Oh, contact though! Trent Jump. Nick Crawford slipping and sliding and wrecking is the 46 as the rest of the field tries not to get involved. And we're going to overtime attempt number 2.
2 of our top contenders all night involved in that one. And that right there was the closing rate of the new tires and the old tires. Trenton Jump saw the gap closing, went for the hole that was there, and Nick Crawford was there. And we have another yellow. And Whitley, love it where he's at because he's still got old tires behind him. But man, oh man, Sam, that was to be expected with, you know, just all the different strategies right there.
And here is what brought out the yellow. Just everyone accordion up. Nick Crawford gets into the 46. And they're both going to be going sideways, but it's after the fact of seeing drivers contact. 46 going to get spun around here, but Nick Crawford, as the 46 gets spun around, overcorrects, comes back up onto the track, and Matt Dyer, nowhere to go for the 28 machine.
Oh, just a T-bone hit there for the 28, and that's huge for him who was looking to get through the wreck, but now just coming out here with major nose damage. Luckily, no required damage flags, but I mean, you don't want to have that there with, a green-white checkered happening now, and this is a tough ordeal, and even for Nick Crawford and Trenton Jump, I mean, it's just two drivers going for the same asphalt on the racetrack. The gap was closing, and it just is a tough ordeal to have play out here at the end for drivers who were having great runs, but now will get us another restart.
Second attempt at overtime for these drivers. Going to be just like the first one. Danny Cochran, also a little update on other drivers that were caught up in that mess. Mason Cassidy getting some slight contact into the wall, and somehow nobody involved in that wreck was given a required damage flag, so they're able to stay out there on track. But here's how the ruling's going to go for attempt number 2. Like I said, just like our first attempt, it's going to be a green, white checker, 2 laps to finish out this race. If we get to the white flag, they continue to race this thing out and swift across the line first. But it's that first lap. If we get a caution again, it will send us into our third and final attempt at overtime. 4 cautions in the book. This ties are going to be 1 caution, away from tying our season 1 race, as none of our Darlington races have actually ever gone to overtime. This is the first for this track, for this league. And Mark Whitley getting to try once again to go for a win.
He's going to try everything in his power. Right now, the next car on fresh tires behind Mark Whitley would be 4th place Malik Kuntz. Then it would be Joshua Kanai in 6th, Danny Cochran in 7th, and pretty much from there on back how fresh tires is. Rochelle hung on the 5th, Gaudio hung on the 3rd, and Fonseca hung on the 2nd. I mean, Sam, if they come out here with even a top 5, I mean, Fonseca was running top 5, so he's hoping to keep in that range. But for, Anthony Gaudio and Kyle Rochelle, who are running just outside that top 5, if they can get, better positions here from this strategy, this could have been well worth it. But we're going to have to go through another green-white checkered attempt, and that's just more opportunity for them to lose some spots.
I'm highly concerned, though, for that of Anthony Gaudio and Ollie Fonseca. The wheel spin is the factor I'm most concerned about. The 3 practically wrecked it in front of the field, just trying to hold on to that machine when it gassed it up on that last restart. And he's got to try it again on even older tires. Maybe that could help him. I mean, maybe it won't, but this 3 is going to be probably my circle of if we can get rolling, maybe we got a chance to finish out on the second attempt.
I mean, we saw how bad the traction was. I mean, it was Fonseca who had control of the restart, who was past heading into 1. You never see that usually here on iRacing, because usually we have tons of traction in that restart zone. But when you take away that traction there, you spin those tires, that driver that hooks it up from right behind you can really just go on by with the momentum and sell to that lead position like Mark Whitley did. So we'll see what they can do here on the restart, but I think wheel spin is definitely going to be a huge subject here for sure for those 3 trucks that are on the old set of tires. But Mark Whitley, he's just hoping to get to the checkered flag.
And those 3 drivers, Ollie Fonseca, Anthony Gaudio, and Kyle Rochelle, are going to be the 3 drivers on old tires. Everyone else has got some freshies to work with. This is your second attempt at overtime. We got another one if needed, but that's if we get a caution under this first lap. The white flag will make this race official, and Mark Whitley, having the freshest of tires, he's got a wall of dirty air and dirty rubber behind him. Who is going to hold off? Let's find out as the 77 gassing it up into the restart zone. And here we go for overtime attempt number 2.
Great start for Mark Whitley, but the old tires fire off better than we were expecting. But it's Fonseca and Gaudio side by side down into 1. Where is Malik Kuntz going to go for that positioning with the fresh tires to try to run down the 77?
77 already half a second ahead over Anthony Gaudio, and Malik Kuntz just no opening to go. Kyle Rochelle, a big splash for himself, but holds on. The 3 already down low, exiting out. Anthony Gaudio, something horrifically wrong went with the 3, but they're almost wrecking in the middle of the field, exiting out of turn number 4. The white flag hoping to be waved, and it is the lap white flag. Mark Whitley pulling away from the rest of the field.
And somehow Ali Fonseca is holding on to the 3rd position as they come off a 2. He's going to have Cochran. Is Rochelle getting hit almost by the 28 or whoever that group is the 14? ISRC's up here even now.
Massive runs. Drivers are just taking the outside lane and trusting that the grip is going to be there as drivers slipping and sliding everywhere on track. But it's one up front. Mark Whitley continuing his winning ways and gets another win for himself in the career books, in the first for season 5 for Mark Whitley.
Great win for Mark Whitley. Great finish for Fonseca to hold on the 4th, Rochelle 6th on the old tires. That was an excellent job from that group, as Anthony Gaudio unfortunately finishes back in 20th. But what a wild ending to this one. That looked procedural for a moment with Mark Whitley winning, but he had to work really, really hard to get that one back.
I mean, besides the fact that Mark finally got into the winning column, Malik continuing with great runs. The biggest shock for me, Danny Cochran, 3rd place finish for the 2. At moments, it looked like there was no chance for a top 3 finish. He gets it done. Congratulations to Danny, Malik, and Mark Whitley. We're going to be talking to all 3 of those drivers and a spotlight driver right after this. Enjoy the smoke show. We'll be back for the post-race show right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series. Tonight was race number 6 in the books, in our 6th different winner of the season, but it goes to Mark Whitley, the most winningest driver in ISRC Truck Series history, gets his 15th career win, and what a charge it was for himself. We go to victory lane. We got Mark with us. Mark, congratulations on getting the win here tonight. What a run, overtime, made the pass immediately. Were you shocked on that restart that Ollie kind of gave you the free opening to go for the pass that gave you ultimately the win tonight?
Well, I was glad he picked the outside because that meant I was going to restart right on his bumper, and I was able to get a good jump on the restart. And those guys on older tires, they were just spinning their tires. I was really worried that the 3 was going to come up and pin us against the wall because it looked like he spun the wheels pretty hard, but he was able to keep it under control. And then I kind of, as my John would say, I was almost clear with contact trying to get in front of the 3, trying to get up under Ollie. And I don't know if he just wasn't expecting it or what, but I think I caught him off guard. And thankfully, he gave me enough room going into 1 where we didn't completely wreck the field. And after that, I knew, as long as I could just, hit my marks, it should be pretty good. And then they wrecked. I was telling Brantley, I'm like, as long as I get a good jump, I should be fine on these restarts since I had a couple cars and a cushion between me and the next guy on fresh tires. But that was up and down race, stressful, exciting. Just glad to finally be off the snide for the season.
Yeah, definitely, Mark. First time we got to talk to you this season, man. That's kind of what I was going to go at. It's like, first off, how does it feel to break through and get a victory after, last week was a good run, 4th, but definitely not the season you've wanted here to start off.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, just that's what it's been around here for me season-wise. It seems like the beginning of the year, it's just kind of like ho-hum. We're just kind of making starts, running up front. And then once it gets closer to the playoffs, we start to lock in, start getting better finishes. So I think I'm glad to finally be off the this is one of my favorite racetracks, so I couldn't have picked a better one to get the first win on the season. Driving this beautiful throwback paint scheme that should have won the contest, in my opinion, but that's, I'm biased. So it's great. Doubt creeps in after, it's been half the season already, hadn't got a win. And last season we won so many times, so you start to doubt yourself a little bit. So it's good to finally get off the monkey off your back, to say, and hopefully we can go out there and get on a roll and get some more before the playoffs start.
I mean, that's one thing that I'm kind of nervous about, Mark, is you finally got this monkey off your back for this season. Confidence-wise, got to be surging up. We're going to New Hampshire, Sonoma, Bristol. We've seen you run well at Bristol before. I'm expecting you to run well at New Hampshire. How are you feeling about these upcoming races?
Yeah, well, if this is one of my favorite tracks, New Hampshire is probably my absolute favorite. I love that track. So it's good to go ahead and get the, like I said, get the monkey off the back, go in there. Got no pressure now. Just go out there, run fast laps, hopefully be out front and run away from the field and just win the race. That's all that needs to be done. And yeah, those road courses are pretty fun. I had to miss the last one we did, just some prior commitments. So happy to go back to our road courses. Those are always fun. And yeah, Bristol, seemed like we've had really good luck at Bristol in this league, except for one race. So hopefully we can go in there and win that one too. Just want to get as many wins as possible for the playoffs and just get on a roll and get some momentum built up.
Well, we can't wait to see how this momentum is going to carry forward for you, Mark. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, big shout-out, like I said, begin with Harpoon Design. Brantley, he does amazing work, awesome work. He put together this nice throwback. I think his exact words were, "This is a pain in the you-know-what," when I told him I wanted to do this one, but he had it done in like 2 hours. So dude's amazing. Check him out at harpoondesign.com, or if you just want to check out some of his other work, Harpoon on trading paint, it's just Harpoon Design. I think he's got like 1,500 paint schemes on there at this point. So, check him out. And then huge shout out to my family tuning these broadcast races. I think on the cool down lap, I was already getting texts from them telling me, congrats on the win. So really means a lot to me. And then huge shout out for the league. I know probably wasn't the nicest when that caution came out there with a few laps to go for that the start of those couple cautions at the end, but league, we got a real long run, green flag run in the middle of the race. That's difficult track, so it's a pretty good show for everybody. And for y'all putting on the broadcast, it should be fun to go back and watch. A hell of a lot less stressful probably, but it's just glad to be here, and hopefully we can be here talking to you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but next weekend.
Oh, hopefully we'll be as well, Mark. Congratulations on the win, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
Well, it seems like they've awoken the beast. He's ready to keep on rolling, but a driver that's found the momentum and trying to carry it forward after last week's win comes away with the second place finish here tonight. We got the 98 of Malik Kuntz with us. Malik, what a run for yourself this evening. Was up inside of the top 4 all night long. Man, how are you feeling after that performance?
Pretty good that I could miss those late race, stay out of trouble in those late race restarts. Um, I felt like I had top five speed all race, and at times maybe top two, but on the long run, I would kind of middle of the run, I would fade, and then it seemed like I had speed at the end of the run, and then so yeah, but it feels good.
It's definitely got to feel good for you, Malik. Man, I tell you, it gained 10 positions last week after the win there at Dover in the standings, and had a few drivers also not come, make it to tonight's race ahead of you. How you feel? As you should probably be gaining a ton of spots again here going up the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's a lot better than at this point last season. Just try to keep consistent finishes, top fives, top tens at some of my tracks that I'm not too fond of, but the tracks that I do enjoy, shoot for top fives.
I mean, top five's good way to go, getting those good, decent points. Malik, we're heading to some pretty tough tracks moving forward. New Hampshire is going to be the first one next week for us, Sonoma and Bristol. How are you feeling about these upcoming courses?
I haven't really ran New Hampshire in probably 8 to 10 years, but when I was running back then, I seemed to have pretty good speed at New Hampshire. Sonoma, I just need to get through that with a top 10, and then Bristol, usually have pretty good speed. Last year was fast and just got caught up in a where I wrecked basically, but
Yeah, I mean, Malik, we're hoping for good things to continue moving forward, for this momentum to continue on until we get to the playoffs. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I just thank my teammates. We practiced together a little bit, and I mean, just fun racing with them. So appreciate them.
Well, that is going to be the 98 machine of Malik Kuntz. Congratulations on second place, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
As we go from second place, let's go down to third position. A driver that we didn't know if he was going to find himself in the top 10, let alone the top 5, and sneaks with a third place finish. We got Danny Cochran with us. Danny, it has been a long time since we had the ability to talk with you. All the way back in the round of 12 was your last top 5 finish. You get third place here tonight. How are you feeling after that?
Dang, man, it's about time, ain't it? I mean, my gosh, we've just had issue after issue, whether it's a lack of talent, connection issues or whatever. I mean, it has been a minute since I've got to talk to y'all, and couldn't think of a better race to do it than Darlington. I'm a really big fan of this track. Had no business being in the top 3 tonight, but the time maybe I don't deserve to be here, we end up here, so you'll love to see it, I guess.
That you really do, Danny. So congrats on third, man. A great recovery there back at the end as all the pieces fell into the place there for you. But, you got some good tracks coming up, Danny. This is a great way, I think, to start your run into those. How do you feel for those upcoming tracks we got?
I'm looking at the schedule here. I mean, I'm really excited for New Hampshire. That's a history that's a track I have a strong history at. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Sonoma, to have a solid history there. I mean, a couple top 3s in this series at that track. So that's always I've always got that one circled on the schedule. And I love some Bristol too. It's my home track and one that historically I have decent speed at. We don't always have the finishes to show it, but I mean, we usually run pretty strong there.
And we're hoping the strength will continue moving forward. Danny, congratulations again on a third place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, you guys for broadcasting, of course, doing an awesome job. I can't wait to go back and watch those last couple of restarts on the broadcast. I know those had to be some doozies. It was certainly a doozy to be a part of. Just kind of sticking it on the wall there and hoping it would kind of stay together, that they wouldn't wreck up into me. We kind of snuck our way through that one wreck with Trenton and Crawford there. But, shout out to my teammates, Larson Line boys. Always a pleasure running with them. We got 3rd, 4th, and 8th tonight. So, and Tyler got, looks like, 16th. So, yeah, strong night overall for those guys. Larry Arts Productions hosting let's see here. He's got the series sponsor, the title sponsor, the race sponsor, and he's on my truck tonight. So, pretty cool getting him in the top 3. It's been a long time coming. And the admins for putting this thing on. I know Tyler was kind of flying solo tonight. He done a great job. And congratulations to Mark on winning the race.
Well, that is going to be third place finisher of Danny Cochran in the 2 truck. Congratulations on a third place finish and good luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from third place, go to a spotlight driver. A driver we just saw on the last caution that came out, T-boning right into Nick Crawford, but comes away with a 7th place finish, even with the major damage. We have that going to be Matt Dyer in the 28 machine. Matt, what a run for yourself late in the race. You were at moments all the way in the back, went a lap down, then come away with a top 10 finish. How are you feeling after tonight's performance?
It felt pretty good. I definitely felt like I had a lot better long run car than short run, but there at the end, I just somehow just got to the top and was able to pass people on the top, which felt really good.
Was a very good finish there for you, Matt, man, to get yourself up into position. It's been a lot of tough luck for you this season other than that 2nd place finish there at Las Vegas, but tough track here tonight. We head into 3 tough more tracks in New Hampshire, Sonoma, and Bristol. How you feeling for that upcoming schedule?
I think New Hampshire might be fine, but I think the next 2 after that I might have to take a vacation. But I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, Matt, we're excited that you got to have a good finish here tonight after a couple of rough runs. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, just a shout out to you all for for broadcasting, Nightfall Graphics, Larry Arts Production, Thin Line Racing, just everyone just coming out here and putting on a show, especially Tyler and the admins for putting this on every week.
Well, that is going to be the 28 machine of Matt Dyer. Congratulations on a 7th place finish here tonight, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to be your 4 drivers got to talk to, top 3 spotlight driver, and now going to give us a chance to take a look at our unofficial results. A lot of movement bouncing around after our top 4 of drivers that were on old tires, those on new. Matt got a couple of good runs on the outside, but overall, the victor of tonight goes to Mark Whitley after 2 overtime attempts. The 77 gets to enjoy his first win of season 5, his 15th career win in the ISRC Truck Series history, and he's going to continue on his winning ways. Molly Kuntz going to be in 2nd place. Danny Cochran back for a top 5 finish in 4th. Ollie Fonseca, even with his scares, gets 4th. GT Rosari comes away with a 5th place finish. Kyle Rochelle 6th. Matt Dyer 7th. Dakota Moniz, top 10 run for the 5 machine. Mason Cassidy, our pole sitter, comes away 9th, and Trenton Jump falls all the way down to 10th.
Tough finish there for Trenton Jump in 10th, but also some more tough finishes for other drivers such as Nick Crawford back in 15th. You also had Cody Reed, who stayed out there for a long time, led laps back in 18th. Blake Hoppy in 19th was running up in the top 10 for majority tonight. And running out of gas, we believe, on the last lap there was Anthony Gaudio back in 20th. It's a tough break for him there, who made the strategy call that Rochelle and Fonseca made to get a 4th and 6th place finish, just losing out there. And he was even in a good position maybe to get himself a top 5. So tough break for a few drivers, but Darlington's always a tough one. So not too surprised to hear that from a few drivers out there soon.
And it doesn't get any easier after this. New Hampshire, the next destination, then road course racing at Sonoma before we go to more short track racing at Bristol. So the field have to get prepared and ready. This next cluster of races, you're not out of the woodworks just yet, but you certainly have awoken the giant of Mark Whitley back into victory lane. And how will he be able to carry the momentum of this win? Well, for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we are not done with broadcasts throughout the week. It's just the start. We've got more content to give you. Going to be tomorrow night, Full Send Racing Series. Right in the beginning of their season, only race number 2 at Chicagoland is going to be our destination tomorrow night. Wednesday, the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series heads to the 2008 configuration of Atlanta for race number 4. And on Thursday, race number 4 for the Stars and Stripes Series as they head to Dover. So 3 very different racetracks. Who can find themselves in a victory lane? Well, you're going to have to subscribe. Hit that bell notification to be notified when we go live. See who goes to victory lane for those courses. And Zach, those are some 3 fun tracks that I'm excited to see on how well you perform racing in the next 2, and also how Stars and Stripes is going to run on Thursday.
It's exciting to see, Sammy. I'm, of course, as a driver myself, the next 2 races, 2 nights. Excited to see how those play out. 2 amazing tracks in Chicago and Atlanta, of course. And Stars and Stripes, I mean, look at what they've been doing lately over there. Some of the racing they've been producing has been amazing to watch. So, like Sam said, folks, hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, hit the bell notification button so you can be notified each and every time we go live with all these amazing leagues we have. As the racing has just been really great here the past few nights.
And if you haven't subscribed, remember to go check to see if you are. We are on the march to see if we can hit 2K subscribers before the end of the year. It'd be incredible to hit that marker and hit that goal. So if you haven't, share the broadcast, talk about Freaky Fast Broadcasting, let people know, hey, they are 4 races being streamed a week, and all of them are entertaining to watch. But for tonight, thank you so much for joining with us. You got to watch the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series. Darlington's in the book. Mark Whitley goes to victory lane. And for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for myself, Sam Dyer, and with me in the booth, Zach Hall, running productions, Road Warrior Jr., and everyone else at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. And we'll see you tomorrow night. The Full Send Racing Series hits the track at Chicagoland for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.